I'm going to give Sister Amina the opportunity to go ahead and discuss the constitution outline that's been drafted. It's not set in stone. Everyone should know that we are doing this all as work in progress, seeking your guidance and inclusivity, your insights, your ideas, your leadership to work with us in making this happen. So without much ado, Sister Amina, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I begin by giving the breakdown of the Constitution, saying it is a body of laws and principles important for protection of individual freedoms through regular, competent, just, and fair government. The Constitution places power in the hands of the citizens. In fact, to be blunt, I should say the people, and limits the power of government. Government is whoever is in power in a given situation or given forum. For instance, in a home, government is the parents, and the power shouldn't be placed entirely on them, but on those that they govern, in order that we have justice and fairness. Our Constitution is the means. It is that toolbox for strategic leadership that Brother Ibrahim Rasool mentioned. It was beautiful to hear that. And unless there are rules, the Charter cannot live. The Charter will be able to flow if there are rules governing it. And the Constitution is that instrument. It is that toolbox that enables the Charter to flow. It is broken into four main components. That is the nature of the business. What do we do? Membership, who does it? Organization structure, not organizational structure. The organization structure doesn't speak to the organizational structure. It speaks to how the people who are in it are organized and how they are working together. It has nothing to do with hierarchy. And then finance and accountability. How do we drive the program? And who do we account to, and how do we account to one another? So I will begin with the nature of the business. The nature of the business comes with income and property. Sorry for that. Incorporation and nature of the company, organization. Those are the points under the nature of the business. What is it? Is it a non-profit organization? Is it a company? It speaks to that, the nature of the business. Compliance with Section 30, there are rules also that govern the operation of such organizations and companies. That's why we have that compliance. Conflicts with the Companies Act, it has to be in compliance with that as well, and must guard against being in conflict with them. Main business of the company or organization, the main business is the same. Whether we will call it a company or an organization, the main business remains the same. It is what already has been stated in the Charter. Objects of the company and or organization remains the same. It's already been stated in the Charter. Power of the company, amendments, NPO recruitment requirements, NPO requirements. That also will stay the same. That is, if we need to amend, we will come together and decide what has to be amended, and then the rules by which it works, and the provisions of the Charter already to operate according to the provisions of the Charter, and the Constitution also speaks to that. In fact, they are related. The Constitution is extracted from the Charter, and then area and scope of operation based on the Charter. We will not deviate from that, and the power is with the people who are involved with us because they understand how we should be working. They help us not to deviate from the correct flow of the Charter. The next is the nature of the business and the salient points. That will be who are the members of MUSA, and how do we construct how do we constitute membership? It is stated in the Constitution, that appears in the Constitution. The rights of those members, the duties and the liabilities of those members, suspension and termination of membership. Why do we suspend it, and why and how it will be terminated, and under what circumstances? Resignation of members, that also has to be governed. Membership registration, that also has to be governed. Members' rights to information, records, date for exercise membership, limitation and liabilities, members' meetings, all that comes under the membership. Notices of meetings and all that, that is, we need to meet with our members and we need to communicate all the time, because this is not MUSA's thing. It is for everyone. It is for all humanity in the entire country. Whoever subscribes to the rules of justice and fairness, to the accountability, all those people are members of MUSA, whether subscribed or not subscribed. All right. And then the third one is the company structure. This section explores the rules for all those who work directly on fulfilling the organizational mandate. The directors, the indemnification and directors' insurance, office bearers and officials. That's what the company structure speaks to. Then, lastly, finance and accountability. That's what holds many an organization not to function. We have to address this and know from the beginning, and it has to be in our administration document, which is the Constitution, on how this is going to be done. So we deal with funding and operations, finance, borrowing powers, auditors, for accountability, company organization records and accountability records, annual financial statements will have that, and we'll even have meetings where these are going to be read. Annual returns enhance accountability and transparency. We need to be very, very transparent. That is what good governance is made of. And then reserves. Thank you.
Okay, I think you covered a lot of the details.
Yes, yes.
No problem. The cutest sound we heard on this session so far is the sound of the lovely child in the background. Jazakallah, Sister Muallima.
Okay, Jazakallah.
Quite clearly, there is a lot of aspects around governance that Sister Amina has put forward. And in Islam, the concept of amana is clear. The aspects around governance historically, since the time of Hazrat Abu Bakr and many, many others in the leadership of the Ummah, is phenomenal for us to extract from. And today we also have experts in our teams, in our organizations, in our country on governance, who are familiar with Islam and familiar with the secular laws and regulations, and can converge these for the benefit of all of us. So I would urge all of us who are aware of the importance of governance and what Sister Amina has outlined, to take into consideration how you can contribute towards some of these aspects. And like she said, it's for all. It's not just for us. We're doing this for the Ummah and for the broader community. We've got the most important session next coming up, which is essentially the strategy process and some of the plans and goals. But before we go to